They took a van, they equipped it, they rented their house, they shipped the van to Europe on a boat, and then they gypsied around Europe for 6 months, seeing everything. They arrived back in about October of 1964, and less than a year later, my dad had died. And my mother felt good that she had been able to make a difference and to help him realize his dreams. She was on her own for a couple of years, and then had the incredible blessing of meeting George Tait, Joanne and George Jr.'s mom. I said that wrong, but you know what I'm trying to say here. They met each other, and my mom said the reason George picked her was that she was the only woman that wasn't slipping him their card in with the change when he was repairing their cars. All the other women that he waited on were busy slipping him cards, but Mother didn't do that. She was a pretty straight kind of person, if you know what I mean. So I would think it's fair to say she embraced her respective families. She loved the grandchildren like they were her own. And the thing that was so special to watch with Mom and George was that George had a little bit left over from my mother. He was able to sort of openly spoil her, and they did many wonderful things together. They trailered, they went to the Desert Hot Springs, they belonged to a lapidary club. There was a lot of joy there, even though there was a lot of difficult times and sickness particularly. And we as a family were worried if they got married, would they have much time together? 29 years my mom helped to keep George going. And he never was in a nursing home, and they had a wonderful time together. After that ended, one of her longtime friends, Tom Balcart, who ran the rock shop in Victoria, he and Mom became friends. And they would go for walks and do things together. He was a very nice man. So at the end, of course, we all know that Mom had a stroke. 10 years she's been in a nursing home. The people there have loved her. The last 10 years, the last few weeks particularly, the health has been very, very supportive and kind of her. They're kind to her, and I can't say enough about how well she was treated. And we're hoping that some of the staff will come to the garden today to enjoy the get-together and to celebrate Mom's life. So who was Violet? Well, she was very responsible, very caring. When she got this job, she came home. She said, I remember my mother coming down the stairs, and she'd been working. She said, I said to my mom, Mom, I got a job. Which meant that, of course, Amanda would be helping the family. My mom, Violet, would be helping the family. And my grandmother put her head down on the stairs, and she cried because they needed the money so much. And whilst she was doing that, she was also helping raise the little people, one of which was Dick and Goldie and Bunny. Hard to think of him being little, but they were at the long end of the chain there. So she had a special relationship with them. Mom set goals. She had this work ethic. She wanted his dreams, help Dad have a family and be secure. She taught us to follow our dreams. I did not know that when I said I was going to art school when I was 16, that my mom told me after my dad was so upset that I was thinking of going to Vancouver to art school. He said, well, if she has to go, if anything happens to her, it's your fault. So Mom accepted that so that I could go to school. I mean, what a burden that was for her. She was a dichotomy. She was a planner. She taught us to nail things down, but at the same time, she was a free spirit. How many people emailed or wrote cards to say that Granny didn't walk, she marched, right? Nobody could keep up with her. She was, she had an incredible zest for life. She sailed with my dad. They traveled with both husbands. With George, they also went to the desert for 15 years and trailered. They had some real joy together. My mom was very positive. Never despair, nil desperandum, keep the flag flying, never say die, fight the good fight. I mean, that was what I was brought up on. So, I mean, it's not one thing, it was so many things like that that I remember. She lived in the moment. So she'd get up and she'd say, seize the day, carpe diem. You know, got to get out there and take advantage of the moment. She was disciplined. Now, one day I said, Mom, what did you do today? She said, well, on my way home from work, I went to Eden's to pay the bill. And I said, well, there's some things on sale. Did you look at them? She said, no. I said, well, why not? She said, when I go to pay my bills, I neither look to the left nor the right. I go, I pay, and I leave, because otherwise I might see something I want. She was exceedingly stoic. I don't know about any of you people. I never heard her complain. I never heard her tell me that she wasn't feeling well. She was stoic. And similarly, in the last 10 years, she never complained. She never, nothing. She was amazing. She was a loyal friend and a loyal sibling. I think that's great. Philosopher. It's all written in the stars, dear. Now here's one we used over and over this week. It was, it will all come clear in time. And were we not looking for clarification? We were thinking, how can we do this? There was just so many things on the list to deal with. And it did come clear in time. And there were some things that were blessings and happenings that came out of the woodwork at the last minute. She was thrifty. I think that's an understatement. So one day I said to my students, so I was killing a bit of time, I said, what do you think I should make for supper tonight? Oh, they had great ideas, you know, all fancy things. And I said, well, you know, it's kind of close to payday, so I think probably it'll be clean the fridge soup. And one of them said, well, what's that? And I said, well, you know, you go into the fridge and you get the last withered carrot and the last withered onion and the last Brussels sprout and the little bit of dead casserole that's there, and you put it in a pot with a bit of water and an oxal cube, and you say a few Hail Marys, and there you've got soup. And I would say, without exception, those kids, whether they were rich or poor, said exactly the same thing. That is the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. And I said, well, you know, it's really interesting. One day, you're going to have a choice. Do I eat or do I pay the rent? Well, both would be good. So learning how to make something out of nothing is really important, and I learned that at my mother's knee. Waste not, want not. And think of the starving Chinese. Like, I did not want to eat the crusts, but I had to think of the starving Chinese and all that. So I found there was a ledge under the table. So if there were bits and pieces I really didn't want to eat, I would slip them on that ledge. And then I would forget about it. And then maybe a month later, my mom would be washing the floor, and she would move the table. And suddenly I would hear, Lynda! Oh, God, she found the crust. And of course, we will do without. you know, you want that, you'll do that. I once asked her